Today, during our coffee break, we're going to be reviewing the Clawlab's H1 starter kit. Let's talk about it. Welcome to our coffee break. So the first thing we want to talk about with the Clawlab's design is the actual, I guess, the encasing of the Clawlabs. So I do love the fact that anything dangerous or any moving parts, other than the gun itself on the outside, on the front, is going to be enclosed into the casing of the gun. I find that to be a lot safer than a lot of the other guns that I've seen and how they operate. I know there's a new AK-5 that is enclosed, but the AK-3 and other guns are not enclosed, and it leaves a lot of room for, if you're a female and you have long hair, for that to get caught, or for yarn to get caught inside the moving parts. So I do like that about the Clawlab. The second thing I like about the Clawlab is that it's so compact. A lot of these other are, they're big and bulky, which I guess can have its benefits. Again, I've never used one before, so I wouldn't be able to tell you what the benefits are of the big and bulky, if there are any. But I do like how the Clawlab is so compact and small. I do wish, from what I've seen on the other guns, I do wish it had the handle to make it to where it could be two-handed. And I see on the Clawlab's YouTube page that they have a handle as an accessory, and that video was only, at the recording of this video is being recorded at the beginning of February. On their Clawlab's YouTube channel, it does have a video that was posted a month ago that does have the handle attachment that they're showing you how to use. But unfortunately, that attachment is nowhere on their website. So I don't know how to get a hold of that. I can't imagine that they would put a third-party item on their YouTube page, so I don't know. Now let's go over some cons of the design. So I'm a lights kind of person, man. I like the RGB lights on it. I just wish they included them either as just a visual thing or something other than the speed. I feel like, especially as a new tufter, I'm not going to be able to judge, okay, well, I think that's where it was last time. So because when you turn the dial, the light moves, and it's like a green and a purple, and the green is where the speed is. And I feel like it would be easier to say, okay, like if there was a digital readout, I would be able to say, okay, well, I feel like I do better at whatever, 32, rather than trying to make sure that that's in my comfort zone of where that light is. So I think that could be an improvement on a future model. And the other thing is, and again, I'm going off limited knowledge, there's no way to change the pile height. Now, I didn't see anything in the instructions about it. I did reach out to Clawlab's, which I must admit, their customer service, they get back to you quick. But they said that there's no way to change it, and it sits right about 15 millimeters on the pile height, and there's no way to change that. So there's that. I wish it would be nice if there was a way to change it so you can do things differently, make different designs and whatnot, make it a little bit easier on yourself, maybe a little bit less shaving. So that is one thing I don't like about it. Now let's talk about the frame. Their frame design and the way it works is wonderful. You put the cloth through the top bar and then through the bottom bar. You twist the bottom bar to where it'll tighten, and then you move the flaps on the side, the plastic flaps, so you put the cloth into the flaps and close the flaps. And then there's another wheel at the top that you turn the opposite direction. And that gets the cloth super, super tight. Like, I can't imagine I would be able to get it any tighter if I was using a regular frame. I guess it's possible. I've never used a regular frame before, and I do plan on building one, and we'll get to that in a second. But I don't see, it's super tight. And the way that their design is great with the metal frame. I have no problems with the design of the frame. The only problem that I have with the design of the frame is that they don't offer the frame in different sizes. Now, I got into tufting with the end result idea of starting a business and selling rugs, which eventually I will do once I get more practice. Unfortunately, I would like to make larger rugs. And I've only made 3 rugs to a final. I've done a couple of rugs as practice, so probably 5 rugs in total. But I would like to do larger rugs, especially if I'm going to be doing this as a business. I want people to be able to do, 5x7 rugs, or request, 3x5 rugs, 3 foot by 5 foot. So again, I did reach out to Clawlab just to see if maybe they had a larger one, and they don't. It seems to be about, I would say probably just under 3 feet wide and probably just under 2 feet high-ish. I didn't actually measure it, but that's about where I'm going, where I would estimate it at. So, or maybe if they would make a frame that was adjustable in size, that would even be better. Even if they can get it to like a 3x3 or a 4x4, like something larger than what it is. Because if they're marketing this towards home use, like there's only so many home rugs that you can make that are gonna be that small. So I would think that there would be a way for them to either change the design to where it's adjustable, or if they offered multiple frame sizes, that would be better too. Now let's talk about cost. I've done research on cost on different kits. Tuft the World offers certain kits. There's a few kits around, and starter kits that include the tufting machine, the cloth, the backing, just different items to get started with tufting. Theirs came with a small piece of tufting cloth, backing cloth, probably enough to make 2 rugs. The tufting gun, and the frame, which is good. It cost me, I got it on sale. I want to say it cost me around $420, and I went that route because it was less expensive than the other kits. Hindsight 2020, I wish I would have went with a more expensive kit, because they have the kits where you can have the larger guns where you can change the pile height, and plus I would be able to make my own frame. Now don't get me wrong, I can make my own frame now and use that gun, but I just feel like if I'm going to make a larger frame, I might as well get a larger gun that's going to be capable of more, that's more industrialized for business use rather than the home use. Now the cost of the kits for the other guns, or for the other starter kits, they ranged, from what I saw, between $550 and $750, which, I mean, I don't think would have been too bad of an increase in cost. Now, cost can be a big thing for a lot of people. So if cost is the biggest thing, then my suggestion would be to go ahead and get the Clawlab's starter kit. Get your practice with the smaller rugs, and then save up your money and get not necessarily another kit, but another gun later on. And that's what I am going to be getting, either an AK-5 or an AK-3. So I just haven't decided which one I'm going to get yet and from where. But that's what I'm gonna end up doing, because of the fact that I want to do this for more of a professional use down the road once I get more practice. I definitely need more practice on making the rugs and carving. The tufting process with the Clawlab's gun is very easy and very smooth. Again, I don't have anything to compare it to with the other guns. Talking to other tufters, talking to people who have been doing this for a very long time, they agree when they use the Clawlab's gun, they would not use it for more of a professional use, and I think a lot of that has to do with changing the pile height. And I have noticed after a while of using the Clawlab's gun, it can get a little warm around the housing, and it's because there's no place for the stuff to escape to, and it doesn't seem like the plastic is like an industrial plastic. So I know that the AK-5 has a housing around it, but it seems like more of an industrial plastic that can take the heat. And I don't think the Clawlab's gun, I don't think the plastic's gonna melt or anything like that. I just think that it's just made for home use. I do wish on their website there was something that said you cannot change the pile height. Me being a brand new tufter, I did not know enough to look and see if that was a feature of that gun. And if they are gearing that gun towards home use for new tufters, I think that would be a good thing to put out there on the website, that you cannot change the pile height, and then leave it up to the person to be able to research what that means or whatever. But I feel like that's something that they could have been more transparent about. Overall, for home use, I think the Clawlab's gun is a great gun. I think it's a great design. I think there's some flaws and drawbacks that they could take back to the drawing board. Even if, let's say for the size of the frame, even if they don't want to market it towards professionals, I still think that people who would do home rugs would want, like, let's say decorative wall art. I would think that they would want to make larger rugs than the 3-foot-ish by 2-foot-ish frame that comes with it. So again, either making that an adjustable frame or making different options for frame sizes, I think would be good. So in the long run, in closure of this coffee break, I truly think that for home use, for small rugs, great. I think the Clawlab, I think, is a phenomenal product. For someone who eventually wants to get into this professionally or as a side gig, I don't think Clawlab's the way to go. I think using another tufting machine from one of the other tufting companies, whether it be Tuft the World or Effie, and I think that would be the best route to go for someone who eventually wants to do this as professional, because now I've invested $400 in this starter kit, and it's going to cost me at least another $250 to get the AK-5. So at that rate, I'm at what, 450? Is that what I said? 450? I think 450, 550, 650. I'm at $700 just with the two guns. And I think I could have probably gotten the kit for $600 had I waited for the right time. So if you plan on doing this eventually and selling your rugs, I would not go the Clawlab's route. But if you're just planning on using this for home use only, then I think that the Clawlab's gun would be the way to go, especially if you don't want to make a rug that is more than 2-ish feet by 3-ish feet, or if you get the Clawlab's gun and then make a larger frame yourself. That is the other option as well. So that's my opinion, folks. It is my unprofessional opinion right now, since I have nothing really to compare it to. I do plan on doing another one of these videos once I get another tufting machine to kind of do a side-by-side comparison of the two. But from what I want right now, Clawlab's was definitely not my best decision. So, but that's okay. You go through these things and you make decisions, and you make business decisions, and sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad. Luckily for me, this is only like a $250 negative decision, I guess. But at the same time, the Clawlab's gun has taught me a lot when it comes to tufting, when it comes to how tight a frame cloth can be on a frame, and how to actually tuft with a tufting gun. So I feel like that'll help me once I do get a new gun. Now I know that there's going to be differences between a larger, more professional tufting machine versus the Clawlabs. I get that. I have no problem with that. I know there's going to be some learning curves, but I think the Clawlabs machine has given me a foundation to work off of, which will help me grow with that other tufting machine. So again, thanks for visiting us at our coffee break, and we're going to do some more coffee breaks. I'm hoping to do one coffee break video a week until I run out of some ideas, but hopefully I don't. We'll definitely do another coffee break once I get the new tufting machine. Right now, all the AK5s are on back order, so I still want to do some more research and find out if I want to get an AK5 or an AK3. So I'm still trying to figure that out. The AK5, you can't change the pile height on. So I'm going to do some research, talk to some people, find out what the best option would be for me, and we'll go from there. So I thank you for visiting. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notifications. I think we plan on doing our first live after we hit 100 subscribers. So if you want to help us get there, I plan on doing 2 videos a week, probably a coffee break video and a tufting video is what I want to do. So we'll see if we can get there. We'll see if you can learn some stuff. We'll see if you can learn from my mistakes that I know that I'm going to make. So, but until the next coffee break, we'll see you next time. Alrighty. A couple things. This may be put in the middle where it's supposed to be, or I may put this at the end, but a couple things I wanted to discuss about the review that I didn't necessarily forget about, but I forgot to put in my notes. The setup of the frame, once you get it and kind of figure out where things are supposed to go, it's pretty easy. I do think that Clawlabs could have done a better job on either the instructions or maybe doing a video on their YouTube page. There were a couple of things that where some of the bars had to be slotted into certain holes that was very difficult to understand from the instructions. So there's that. The other thing is with the roll of fabric, in order to get it onto the bar that it's supposed to be on to start with, where you put it at the top of the frame, it seemed like both sides were maybe cut manually because they're not a straight cut. So it really causes, when you're rolling it onto the bar, it really causes it to roll, what's the word I'm looking for? Roll off center or roll unevenly. There we go, roll unevenly. I did notice that once you get it on there, if you can start to roll it tight and in the middle, you match up. So what I do is I lay it all out. I lay all the fabric out onto a long table, and I put the pole at the end, and I very tightly start to roll it. And when I do, I match the line up on what I have rolled already. I line that up with the line in the middle of what I still have to roll, and that seems to be the only way to actually roll it correctly, or else it gets all wonky. The other problem with the fabric that they give you is it seems to just barely fit onto the tufting frame. Now I think there's room for still making it tight with giving maybe like 1/4 of an inch on each side so you can actually stretch it. It is very difficult to get into the side slots of the tufting frame. And then essentially what happens is the corner of the side slot creates a hole in the cloth, and that's kind of seems to be where it holds it. I just think that design could have been a little bit better in order to get that tight and still have enough room to actually do it. It's very difficult to get, and it may just be the one version that I got, and it just may be a little bit short on the width of the cloth itself. So those are two things that I think Clawlabs could have done better when they did the design, or maybe just when they packaged up the stuff. I mean, maybe it was just a flaw with the cloth itself, that it wasn't quite wide enough. I can get it but I've really got to stretch it pretty far, and then it does not seem to stretch straight when I do that. So just a couple things that I think they could have done better. Again, it doesn't take away from, it's still a good gun for home use. Definitely not the correct machine for professional use, especially since they're limited on the size with the frame that they have. So once I get another frame, we'll try it and see if maybe it's better for professional use, but I think I am going to be buying an AK5 soon for more of the professional use. I'll still use the Clawlabs, but I think for more of the larger rugs and more of the professional use, I think I will definitely start using the AK5 once I get it. But we'll see. And we'll do another review. We'll do a review on the AK5 when I get it too. So, but that's it for now. Sorry I didn't get this in the middle of it. I was going over the video and I was like, oh, there's a couple things that I forgot to go over. So I wanted to make sure I got everything in this one video. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. This way when we release a new video or release a new review, then you're notified. Let us know in the comments what you think of the Clawlabs gun, and if you have one, and if you plan on getting one. And then let us also know if you have an AK5 or an AK3 and what you think of that. So just put it down in the comments below. We'll see you next time.